G'day everyone, Asian Dad here. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing very well. For me, I'm doing not too bad at all. But here in Australia, we're starting to have our temperatures go up. I think summer's starting to arrive soon, so you'll probably start to see me start to sweat a little bit. Now today we've got a bit of an exciting one. We've got the unboxing and first impression of this Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon 8th generation. That's right, 8th generation has finally arrived. I had a bit of a shipping problem, especially a lot of my Lenovo's. Took me a fair long time to actually for them to arrive here in Australia. Anyway, I'm not new to the X1 Carbons. I've met them since the 5th generation, I think it is. Yeah, 5th generation. I've seen them 6th and 7th, and now there's the 8th generation. And I really love the X1 Carbons for sure. They're so light. Every time I pick one up, it surprises me. I even had pretty much your pen and paper notebook, and I had the X1 Carbon on my left hand, and when I picked it up, and I was like, holy wow, it's actually lighter than a physical notebook. So these are very impressive lightweight computers, especially great for traveling around. Now, for those who are joining me for the very first time, welcome to my videos. Now, with my unboxings, I've never met the computer before. I don't even go and look at what the computer looks like. I just go quickly through the spec sheets just to see what specs have been upgraded, and that's pretty much it. So I'm meeting the computer for the very first time, just like you are. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to unboxing. Before I do that, just to let you know, I will be creating a follow-up video of a review video of this once I have spent some time with the computer. So this is just unboxing and first impression. So when that video is made available, I'll put it in a link in the description below. You'll see that little tag up there, and you should be sure to check that out. All right, let's start the unboxing. As always, I've got my good old trusty knife here, and we'll just start the slits. All right, here we go. Again, away from the body. Okay, I think there's just one normally. Yeah, Lenovo's just one. All right, let's have a look what we've got here. Now, I know with the 8th generation here, the processor's gone up to a 10th generation instead of the 8th generation, so it's a bit of a bump up there. Now, I'm just going to move this across. Now, I'll just move that across down the floor. Now, as always, let's start off with the power. Oh, it's not even holding itself. Let's start off with power first anyway, so let's have a look. I always love going through the power to see what's coming out. I don't expect it to be changed too much here, so let's have a look. We've got a 65 watt power adapter, and that is going through, it should be a USB-C. Yep, USB-C. Next one, see that? That's fantastic. I'll chuck that away. And let's have a look what else is in there. I'm pretty sure there's nothing there. And we've got some documentation. We don't need documentation. We'll read that a little bit later. We've got the computer itself. That's fantastic. I'll just put that down here. And that's pretty much all there is to there. So I'll just drop that down here. All right. So the computer, let's just give this a nice little slit down here. All right. These things take a little bit sometimes. Here we go. Let's have a look at this thing. Okay. Still pretty light. I love the lightness of these computers here. All right, so the build construction of this computer here is the exact same as the 7th generation. Still that very, very durable plastic. This one I find, here we go. That's not too bad. That's a good feel. Now it doesn't have as much fingerprint smudging there at all, so I definitely like that. Definitely, there's less smudging of fingerprints, so it's not a fingerprint magnet. That's what I'd say, but I don't think I've got some oily hands yet, as per se, so that's really nice. Now, I don't think it's changing thickness-wise. I think it's actually the exact same. Let's have a quick look at the ports anyway. So we've got the USB-C. That usually should be Gen 1, and it does power delivery as well. And then we've got a Thunderbolt port, and then the dock connector port. And then we've got the USB type A port, and that should be USB 3.2 Gen 1 port. Then a HDMI port. I've got to check what version that is. I can't remember. I think on top of my head it could be a 1.4B, or it could be version 2 if they're hopefully upgraded to version 2. And then we've got the headphone jack on this side here. That's on the left side. Looking at the back, there's nothing all around the back. And then on the left hand side, we've got the power button. We've got a USB type A port, so that should be USB 3.2 Gen 1. Then we've got the exhaust, and then we've got security lock. So we don't no longer have the micro SD card reader, which is a bit of a pity. I do like to see that one there. And along the back, we've got the reset button, which is great. And then we should hopefully have a drainage hole there for the keyboard, which is fantastic. Now these are really sturdily built. You can probably see sturdy to build these things. They go through like pretty much I think 12 medical grades of testing to be that tough and durable. So these are very durable there. All right, I can see some speakers on the bottom there, and then that's pretty nice to see. Well, let's kind of bring out one of my helpers here. I've just got one of my helpers here to actually lift this computer up so we can see this, what's inside there. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm just bringing this thing up. Nice little thing. All right, look at that. Now, keyboard wires. Ooh, I always love the keyboard for the ThinkPads. The ThinkPad keyboards are well known. Now, I've just unboxed the T14 before, and the X1 Carbons, the actual texture of the keys themselves are much more smoother than the T14. The T14 keys are a little bit much more rougher. The X1 Carbons are much more smoother, but in terms of actual spacing wise, it's about the same, and in terms of the travel wise, the same as well too. So that's very durable keyboards in there, and you've got a fair bit of tactile feel to them. I always loved it. And again, the function and control key are still flipped around, so if you need the hack to actually flip those around, if you're not used to having the control key on second button, then look at one of my other videos and they'll show you how to actually flip them around there. And I also got the good old track point. It's still there, or the G-spot, or the keyboard nipple as I used to call them. And then we've also, underneath the spacebar, we've still got the 3 buttons for support the track point. And then the trackpad, it hasn't really grown much. It's still the exact same. Feel-wise, still feels the same there. It's got a bit more of a matte feel to that, and it's quite nice. It would be nice if they actually made it larger, but I don't think they can actually make it larger. There is not much real space unless they actually move the 3 buttons a little bit further up, but only a little margin to actually give a little bit more. But else, it's still a very good size. So right next to the trackpad is the fingerprint reader, and of course the power button should be on the back. So I'm going to try and see if I can boot this up. Now, I've never had very good luck on booting a computer up on camera, and I don't think this will be any different there. Let's just have a look. Let's have a look. I'll make it through. Will I not? I don't think it's going to. Give me a second. I'm going to quickly connect the power up there. All right, let's see if I can boot this computer up here. It's on the side. Now, the reason why that's actually on the side is because you can have the lid closed down, and then if you've got a docking station there and plug that in, you can actually boot the computer up without having to open the lid just to access the power button. So I like that feature. I know some people don't like it, but that's a very nice feature for a lot of people to have the power button on the side rather than actually inside next to the palm rest or even along the keyboard. So I definitely like when it's actually on the side, and also when you're on the 2-1 mode. For those that do have the 2-1, which is the yoga version of this, you'll find that it shares the same design, and it's on the side, which is very good when you're actually on a tablet mode there. So as this is booting up, I can definitely tell you the screen, it looks very similar there. Now, have I actually got a touchscreen? Yes, I've got a touchscreen version. Now, I do know what they've done with the 8th generation.
Hi there,
well,
I'm Cortana, and I'm here to help.
We'll just tell Cortana to quieten down a little. So I do know what they've done with the display is they've actually bumped up the display of the nits of brightness for about an extra 100 nits of brightness, which is really going to be helpful to a lot of people, especially if this is geared towards business clients here. So I definitely say, having to see the screen, it's always already a very beautiful screen. Now, if they've just bumped up the display of nits, I think it is 400 nits for this multi-touch version, definitely will help a lot of people who are working in cafes or outdoors. So definitely I think that is going to be a fantastic upgrade. I also know that the processor has been bumped up to 10th generation, which is fantastic, and I can definitely see something else that's a little bit different. Just very quickly, I've just seen it, is the keyboard here. Now on the keyboard, there's on the, I think F10, F11 and F12, it looks to be a little bit different, or actually F9 actually, it's not, F12 is still the same, which is a customizable button, but F9 looks to be sort of video conferencing cores. So that's one of the upgrades I think I've seen that comes from this one there. So that's kind of neat there to actually have that, since especially with COVID, we're doing a lot more video conferencing more than before, and especially when we're working remotely here. So that's great to see. Now I think it is still running 720p webcam on there. I really do wish manufacturers these days, OEM manufacturers, upgrade their webcam to 1080p. Please upgrade the webcam to 1080p. It's not going to cost too much, and I'm sure a lot of people were willing to pay a 1080p webcam just because a lot of the times we're just doing more content creating just to work remotely, or even teaching, or even do video conferencing calls. Still be nicer. We can always bump it down to 720 if we wanted that resolution, but just to be able to jump up, we can't. We have to buy external USB external webcam. So it would be definitely a really nice feature to have in the next generation, to bump the webcam up to 1080p, please. Anyway, as before I get sidetracked there, it's also got the good old privacy shutters. There's a little lever you can just switch, and that's a lot more smoother than before, I feel. And then you'll see the little red shutter go over it, just to signify that there's actually a physical shutter, and even if it accidentally turn on, you've got physically something to cover it, so no one can actually do spy on you or anything else, which is great. Anyway, let's keep going. I can definitely set this computer up very quickly, and we'll just quickly test out the sound. I don't think they've actually improved the sound, but we'll find out. I've got the computer quickly set up, so I'm now in Windows. Now, while actually setting up Windows, I also noticed one thing about the X1 Carbon 8th generation, and that's the hinge that holding the display to the computer. And I've noticed that the actual hinge before was more like really durable hard plastic. But in the 7th generation now, in the 8th generation here, I've noticed that I think they've replaced the hinge with metal, and it's really nice durable metal too. So that's one thing I've just quickly noticed that this may actually have. Now I'll have to look at another 7th generation just to make sure that is an secret upgrade or not, but I think that could be one of the new upgrades for the 8th generation. Now the other thing we're going to quickly do is the speaker test. So I've just fired up the YouTube video for the speakers, and we'll just have a quick check just to see how it goes and see how the acoustics. Now I have noticed that with the X1 Carbon 7th generation, I think the only other computer that was really good for speaker wise was the MacBook 16, and I think the new 13 as well has a very good speakers that actually beat this one. I also had this Dell Latitude 9510, which was a very surprising for those speakers, but I still think the X1 Carbons still have better speakers than them. So let's just test them out very quickly, so you can just have a quick hear. Yeah, so it's definitely got a bit of bass. Yeah, so it's still got very similar sound as the 7th generation. It's got really nice, good balanced bass, and it's got very nice acoustics. You can definitely hear, even if I'm staying at the back here, I can definitely hear the acoustics already. And I haven't got a maximum volume at the moment. I've only got it around about 10, but let's bring it up to maximum volume, just to have a quick sound anyway. So let's have a look. Yeah, it's not too bad at all. There's not too much distortion. There is a little, but not too much distortion on the very high end, as the bass range seems to, again, quite balanced there for the mids and highs. And as I said, the bass seems to be very nicely balanced, and it's got a very nice balance there. And it's got 4-speaker system there, which is really nice, I've got to say. And especially if you're going to watch a movie on this, or even do presentation. Probably if you do a presentation, people will be blown by the speakers on this anyway. So definitely very nice. And I've got the computer at pretty much a maximum brightness here, if I can just show it to you. Yeah, let's have a quick look. Let me just bring it up to the normal Windows here, so just to see what it kind of looks like for. Now I'm going to show you the glare. Now I've got a maximum there, so just have a quick look. So this is the valuing angle here. Now this is the multi-touch one, and it should be around about 400 nits of brightness. And hopefully, I'm just going to try and see if I can bring it on an extra light to try and get some. There we go, there's glare, just to see, you can see the glare from it. So like I said, that is a very bright light at the moment, so it's probably, if you get lower, just to have a see how much the glare there is. I also just want to quickly see on how this new hinge goes, if it is a new hinge, and if you're just holding it like this, will it kind of, no, it doesn't seem to automatically open itself, which is great. So the hinge seems to be quite nice. That's doing that, and I'll just have a quick check with the one finger test, and it's really nice there. And you need to give it a little bit of a wiggle just to bring it across. So one finger's there, and again, this is a clamshell version, so it only does a 180 there. But I definitely love the feel of this. The palm rest, again, it's the same sort of plastic there, very nice. But yeah, very nice matte feel to the whole entire system, so I definitely love it. And this is definitely a really good computer. I can't wait. Now I've got the i7 version of this, so we're going to hopefully try and heat this computer up when my temperature test and also the battery life test of this computer here. And also I've got to say, I am excited to actually see how this goes in terms of battery life, because with the 7th generation they do claim up to like 19.5 hours, but most of the X1 Carbons 7th generation I got was pretty much averaging around about 6.5 to about 7 hours on the full loaded battery. So I'm hoping this one will do a little bit better. I think this one claims at about 19.5 as well, but we'll find out. Hopefully we get pushed a little bit more on that. So like I said, this is the i7 version, so we'll run a little bit more battery. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, I hope you find this video informative or enjoyed it. If you did, smack that like, and if you haven't done already, subscribe to my channel by hitting that subscribe button on the screen. I try and upload a new video every week. And just remember, imperfections in life makes it beautiful and interesting. I'll see you next video.